from the floating snow and long moss of dust to something a little bit more compact. I would love to be able to introduce this, but to do so would be to speak over and over speak my place, which is to defer to the stone in this particular rendition of Stone Talk. So, scene 5. No words, but...
In the middle of the street stood an arrogance, hastily tied together from twigs. There were almost accidents, but nobody stopped, got out, and burnt it down.
You carried heavy stones.
Sneaking up on one's own confusion and yet never getting hold of it, not getting a grip on it.
You carried heavy stones.
What he was like as a child, hard to say. He was most likely a conifer, a large, good-natured, and slightly bent by the constant wind.
A bouldering possibility in mute crumb of igneous cake. Grain again is always saying without ape blabbing a bird song, no words, but all human circus performers throughout the summer months gave way to the bustle.
When he is in the tunnel, Josh smells and tastes the rock. The tunnel is wild. The orange lamps don't really light up the place, they only make the spots without light darker.
Cut to Pebbles. Dear Regina, finally, I'm getting back to you with the time and focus your wonderful message deserves. How is NYC doing? Pretty smooth. Stone carving, Hedy Lamarr, the Swiss mountains, and sending transatlantic pebbles, or perhaps not language, but a fundament of what precedes evades, and at last language, a dignity of silent materiality, but also change. I was reading some of your basalt.
I think I should include writing about stone, but right now I'm too tired to do something nice. To be clear, I am an absolute beginner in stone.
Regina, please forgive my delayed response. The sort of intimate anonymity that being strangers can bring. As if quartz were steadily nibbling at the beach ball magic of Volvox. Pleasantly gelatinous algae, alien lime in colour, amiable in character, probably a neon this and that, ping-ponging around the early cosmic rain of happening. And as the oblivious bounce of a single cellular circle plays in primordial shores across the ink of chemical space, it begins a now nattering of crystal forks, turning out the chaos of strange birth. This is where I think the stone will do some talking. Amethyst, to go with the lighting. So I'm going to just want to get up as close as possible to ventriloquize with ultimate fidelity, my crystal friend. Whole a haunt, sound grown as ice round tall ground, a form of prime storm rent in vain seedlings to frost the sunroof, a chime led from dusted tweak, as near time nebula to folk song caught through air stole, a slack cold to bare ceiling brought over in under as earth's sister of origins, homeless grown solar in burial is molten as matter is silence given the shape of infinite conversation. Heard here is here, starting to hear it, here hearing unheard, what starting is as heard here to be starting what isn't here is.
It was here I found the animal. It looked right at me and made a tiny sound, as if one tries to scream backwards. I showed it the dustpan, and it climbed on it. Its hooves clacked on the plastic. The oldest thing I have are potatoes from last winter and canned mustard pickles from the winter before. If it doesn't like any of that, I will go get a fern plant, I guess.
An intertitle. in a decadent flourish of hooks and loops announces
the limitation of our gaze. While staring, I longed for this movement at the heart of the world, softness, silence. The stone is turning almost into skin, touching back, becoming visible on a mountaintop. Definitely not on a mountaintop, and definitely not in
a yellow mineral. I see it as a Giorgiallo, the screenplay that was starting, specifically Italian adaptation of Edgar Wallace, A Rubber Duck Son of Paperback, has little to do with stones, but in Velone, the wrist cut clean with genre in tones, a lens tone, the tomb so glamorously desecrated, sprays telephones, bathtubs, shoes, J&B whiskey, the neurotic, curtains, the blade, the endearingly small car, the villainously handsome pervert, the back of the hand, the side, the police, the bathing robe, the cassette tape confessional, the tourist, the duped, and the damned stock footage of the city, the inexplicable pet tortoise, rain lashing at the window, blue light, red light, the BDSM dreams, the spiral staircase.
But
the immaculate hair and flash of a camera, the plotting husband, the sexually liberated woman, and her meek shadow, the domestic wife mouse.
But
the curling of smoke, the more whiskey, blade red, and the too late, and the sigh, and the telephone, and some kind of sex maniac, the lavish mansion, the chateau, the gallery, the modernist pad, and there might be a bearskin rug.
But, I mean, they are nice guys. Some of them are close friends of mine, but their subject matter, many times there is none. They will tell you it's about universe, infinity.
Expressive lampshade, outshines actor, from mantelpiece histrionics to imminent topless shot of bureau lined with amethyst and other garnets of who knows what, little jelly beans cut away, catwalk inheritance links, tenuous links to rooftop climax.
And maybe that's true, and it sure is beautiful, but they are so fixated on the work that nothing else around them matters. Their universe could collapse, and they wouldn't even notice.
A stone drops from the edge.
Not to mention infinity.
Dashing of amateur Sherlock follows, stone to drop from rooftop to paint hole, red on paving, Italian as end spells, fine.
The only doll, a reason for tears. A girl in a red dress and apron, porcelain head with blue eyes, real hair and pigtails, but eyes that are always open, looking out into the distance, arms, hands, feet and legs so stiff, limbs like a delusion. How to play with such a thing? A child's corpse in ruffles.
The following was cut from the film and remains absent from the only surviving print. However, evidence of its outlandish vision is still vividly outlined in early treatments of the film and in the first 12 drafts of the screenplay. We will recreate that moment. Collecting for amateurs. Collecting specimens of rocks and minerals is the first step towards a knowledge of the subject. Moreover, it provides physical exercise in the open air. It keeps the mind occupied by constant observation without imposing the long spells of immobility required of animal watchers. The stones just stay there so you can move around. Lastly, it is an activity that, unlike the botanists, may be pursued at all times regardless of the season. There is no granite season. It just is. Where can it be carried out? Anywhere where rocks have been laid bare by natural forces. Oh, to be laid bare by natural forces. Riverbanks, cliffs, etc., but also where they have been uncovered artificially. It is indeed in these places, railway cuttings, quarries, tunnels and excavations, in the neighbourhoods of mines, etc., that you may make your best finds, particularly if the work has recently been carried out. Never fail to ask permission to collect specimens, since the removal of a piece of rock may cause a landslide. Your equipment should be kept to a minimum. First of all, you need some old newspaper in which to wrap up your specimens, and a notebook in which to write notes on what you find. Generally, you will have to break away a piece of rock, and for this, you need a geologist's hammer. Get one of good quality. And a cold chisel, a magnifying glass, a compass, a pair of thick gloves, and a knife are also useful. Do not take too much. A bag of specimens is heavy enough. Stone brought down to voodoo Freudian knick-knack shatters at rosy-cheeked, and this, the impact angel hammered horseman spile at Spitzer chip-cut fountain caught to twinkle and dust of jawbone china breaks to the sound of Sergio Leone's impeccable vista, red dress the crude stone and the symbol a sleight of anvil flattens turmoil to lyric chisel out the bluntest dreams, but dreaming still is this garish aggregate, a headstone harp, a sediment of some fetid truth that prickles like a galling bladder in the swamp, as if the child, broken by the stone, woke up with half a face to speak from half a mouth, and through the falling grit of a few teeth left, tried so hard to rhyme.
The child, with half a face and half a mouth, doesn't bother to speak one full sentence. All those expectations, stretching between subject and object, all these markers or muscles of all those before the child, their certainties, their conduct.
And in each upturned palm stained from botched creation,
the child is worried about dinner, about how to swallow with only half a nap. The tubes inside feel surprisingly smooth, like gooseberry without skin. The child coughs. How to behave at the table in this condition? The child touches the half brain that's left. A flicker of electricity tingles both in the finger and in the head. The finger is whole, as well as the thought.
You carried heavy stones.
Maybe it can become a miracle when it's older, the half-child contemplates. Like, for scientists, they would wear white, of course, and have no hair, but lots of machines, spinning, beeping, measuring the special child, talking and pointing with this little dot of light on slides with lots of numbers and a couple of arrows too. They would say long words into the headset microphones, the little box clipped to their belts. The audience applauds. The child is pleased.
Broken by what you bring, you carry heavy stones. Now, we're going to witness the credits, which is something we were able to save. The credits.
The stone is turning almost into skin, touching back, the veins becoming visible.
Rock and man. Man first rocked when he began taking shelter in caves. Man first rocked, no time for grammar there. At the same time, he used stones as weapons, both against his enemies and against the animals he preyed on. This was the Stone Age. In it, not only was man housed in stones, but all his weapons and tools were also of stones. We are proud of the progress we have made since then, and indeed, in the course of 1,000,000 years, we have enormously increased our technical prowess, yet our basic materials are still derived from the same source. Modern arms, including atomic bombs, like our houses, even those made of glass or aluminium, have originated from rocks. It is impossible to imagine that it will ever be otherwise. The further we advance, the longer becomes the list of the products extracted from the earth. Every part of an aeroplane, and the petrol it consumes, all kitchen material from plates to refrigerators, and including the gas we cook on, are derived from the earth's crust. There is not a single industry which does not depend, directly or indirectly, on rocks. What are rocks?